All right, so we're in section 1.4. It's split into two parts, A and B. Part A wants to go over properties of radicals. And we're given this first example for number 1. We have the negative on the outside of the square root symbol, and then we have 64 underneath. And we want to know, is this a real number? Okay. It says evaluate to figure it out. And so we can do the square root of 64. It is a perfect square, so we just get 8, and the negative is still on the outside. And so we do see that negative 8 is a real number. Okay, so negative number is a real number. So we just select, yes, this is a real number. Inside the box, you input your answer. So yours is probably going to be different numbers. And then you click OK. Now, number 2, similar type, so I'm also going to do that one here. So number 2, we are asked the cube root of negative 27. Okay, so like square root wants to know what did you multiply times itself to get that number. Cube root wants to know what did you multiply times itself 3 times. So it's kind of going backwards. Now, normally you might be familiar with the fact that you cannot take the square root of a negative number. Okay? But if you have an odd degree or an odd number on the outside of your radical, it's okay to have a negative in there, because when you multiply 3 negatives together, the end result is still negative. If it was even, this could not work because 2 negatives will multiply to be a positive. So with some experience in doing this in time, you'll kind of begin to see some of these perfect cubes. One thing you can do, and sometimes they have mistakes. If you Google power table, it'll show you some of those powers. So just like a times table, just Google power table. And they got one that says from 1 to 12. Okay, so different ones. I like this one. It shows 1 all the way up to the 10th power, 2 all the way up to the 10th power. So you can see, is there some number that I can multiply to the 3rd power? Just look across the 3 that equals 27. And you can see here 3 times itself 3 times is 27. Okay, so since we are in dealing with this odd degree means it also works with the negative. So we'll type that in and check. So if I did negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3, if you multiplied that, these 2 negatives will give you a positive 9, and then when you multiply positive 9 times negative 3, you do get negative 27. Okay, so the answer to this one is negative 3, and negative 3 also is a real number. Okay. You could also do this with those calculators, so whether you have a handheld one or this computer app. I should have opened it up beforehand. You can get that cube root function if you hit, there's 2 ways, hit the math button, and it has cube root, that's a special one, so option number 4, if I type that in, and then at the bottom I do negative 27, shows you, and you could also input if you needed a different one. So if I type 3 first, and then I do math, and I go to option number 5, this gives you the option to input any root number you want. So you have to put the number first. So if I do that and then option number 5, it has a 3. It looks different, but it's the same thing. And if I do negative 27, it will evaluate that for me, still negative 3. So a couple ways you can do that.